Hi, welcome to the Creative Treehouse. My name is Robin Broom and I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Thanks for joining me in the Treehouse today. Today's project is actually a project and not a card, and it is these really cool calendars, and the idea came from a demonstrator named Rachel. I can't remember her last name at the moment. I believe it begins with an H, but I'll put her name if I can find it in the description below. And it's pretty much all hers, her dimensions and everything. The only thing that I did was I added a pencil. Let me pull this out of here so you can see it better. I added a little spot to put the pencil in. So, because otherwise you've just got this open pocket and your pencil would fall in, but mine has a place for designated place for your pencil, and then of course it still also holds your post-it notes, and then you've got the tear off calendar. So, and I will put a link to where the calendars, where you can purchase the calendars, the pencils. I can put a link for that also. That was an Amazon purchase, or you could just take a regular length pencil and chop it off and sharpen it, and that would work as well. And I think I even have some little mini pins that are on order. So that's it. It's just, isn't that just neat? So it stands up on your desk like that, and we are going to get started. And it's not difficult. It looks sort of complicated, but it's really not. And it only uses one piece of cardstock and just a little bit of the DSP. So today we're going to make the yellow one, and this is, if you've watched other of my videos, you know that I am a DSP hoarder. I love the designer series paper from Stampin' Up! And this was one, I believe it was available last spring. Anyway, I think it was the Ornate Specialty Designer Paper, Ornate Garden or something like that. Anyway, absolutely lovely, and it works really nice to well to have small prints work well for this little project. So let me give you the dimensions and we will get started, and we'll make most of it just right here. And the dimensions, like I said, it only takes one piece of 8.5 by 11 cardstock. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut it, and we'll just do all this together. So the very first thing that you're going to do is you need a piece that is 3 3/4 by 10.5. So 3 3/4 by 10.5, which just means you're going to be chopping off just 1/2 inch. Okay, so there's your first piece. All right, I'm gonna just set it right here, and then we're gonna go for here's the other part of our cardstock, and it's already cut, that's the cool part, at 4 3/4, because this piece needs to be 4 3/4 by 7. So you only have to cut it on one end, because the other's been done for you. All right, and so you've got these two pieces. Now on this one, we're going to use, this one's going to be the little pencil, designated pencil holder, and this will need to be cut at 2.5 by 2 1/4. Okay, so that only leaves this one little piece is left over. So 2 1/4. Actually, this one too, I guess. So those two are the only scraps that you'll have left from the cardstock. All right, and then I've already cut the designer series paper, and you will need 2 pieces of the designer series paper. And as you can see, they're relatively small. This one is 3.5 by 3, and this one is 3.5 by 2 1/4. Now, if you were to have a designer series paper that was directional, there's the word, directional, then you need the 3.5 would be the bottom and top pieces. So this is bottom and top, and these are the sides. So the longer, the 3.5 is your bottom or your top or whatever, if that makes sense. So like if you had flowers growing this way, this is how you'd want to cut it. You would not want to cut it this way, otherwise your flowers would be sideways. Okay, so we've got those and we've got these. Now it's time to do our scoring. So I'm going to bring in the scoring tool. scoring board. All right, and most of the ones that we're going to be scoring it on the long side. So I'm going to see if I can stick that in there. All right, and so this one, our long piece, which is the easel part of our project. All right, we're going to be scoring it. This is pretty easy at 4, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so score at 4 and 8 and 9 and 10. All right, and so that piece is completely done, scored and ready. All right, let's get our next piece, which is the base of our, it's the working part, or the box part of our project, and we're going to score it at 4. Whoa, 4, and 1 at 4.5. All right, and then we're going to turn it, and I turned it, let's see, counterclockwise, it doesn't really matter, 4 and 1/4. Then I'm going to turn it all the way around 180 degrees to do 4 1/4 again, because we just want that little quarter on both of these sides. All right, and now we're going to turn it, I'm going to turn it one more time. This time I'm going to go counterclockwise. I'm not sure if you can see the lines, but anyway, I have the quarter lines here, and I have that 4 and 4.5 here. So this is the larger side of that, and on the larger side here, we've got a small side and a larger side with these two lines sort of dividing it. We're going to make a very small mark at the 2.5 mark, and we're just going to bring it down to our other score line, our 1/4 inch score line right there, or 1/2 inch. And then we're going to rotate it and do it again at 5.5. So you've got the 1.5 and the 5.5 right here. And that's as far as we need to go with that one. All right. Now let's get our little piece. And this is the only one that's different. We're going to do the short end, the 2 1/4 inch part when we is going to be at the top. Okay. And then we're going to mark it at 1/2, at 1, at 1.5, and 2. All right. So again, we've got the 1/2, the 1, the 1.5, and the 2. And this will be our designated pencil holder part, okay? And so everything is scored. We'll move our scoreboard out of the way. All right, and now we can get our corner rounder and we can round some things. So on this long piece, we've got these two pieces are pretty much equal, and then we have these. All right, we're going to take our bone folder. We're going to crease it here. All right, and then we're going to put the whole thing, both pieces, into our corner rounder. Okay, and if you have this particular trio punch, you can, stick it in, and you don't have to just do one side. It works better to actually push the entire punch down. So we've got that done, so it's going to look like that. All right, and then we're going to take the larger piece of our DSP, and we're going to round the corners on that one. All right, and then we're going to also round corners on here, but we're going to have to do some cutting first. All right. Okay, now let me see. I don't know, it's probably not showing up, but we do need, where we made those little marks that only went to that very first line. So here and here, they kind of made rectangles. We're going to cut those rectangles off. So we're going to go up the score line and then down this score line and just pop the rectangle off. Same here. We're going to go down this one and up this one and pop the rectangle off. Okay, while we have our snips out, let's just go ahead and we're going to go, we have those two lines, we're going to go up these just until you meet that first horizontal line. So, and these are going to be like tabs. In fact, then the good thing to do with tabs is we're going to kind of miter it. So I like to just pull off just ever so slightly, a little bit of an angle, so you've got more of a tab. All right, I'm going to turn it over. Turn it around, I guess I should say, and then I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to cut up the score lines to that horizontal line, and then I'm going to reach in and I'm going to do just a little bit of mitering. And this one, I don't feel like there was a shadow, and I don't think I went all the way up correctly. All right, now we are ready. We've got everything cut here, or we're ready to go ahead and do our corner rounder for this piece. All right, everything has been corner rounded. Move our work surface off just a little bit. And now we can take our bone folder and we can work on these a little bit more. Let's start with our easel. So if we started this with it this way, we've rounded our corners, and now we're going to go ahead and put it together, which will mean taking it here and bringing it inward. All right, the next score line, I'm going to do the opposite, bring it out, and the next one in. So like an accordion or a fan fold. So you've got in and out and in and out. And then now we're going to go ahead and get our tear and tape. Now to me, on all of these pieces that are more structural, I want a really strong tape. So I'm going to use the tear and tape. All right, and so I did not bring my multi-purpose tool in here, which helps get the tape off. All right, and then we are going to close that up. Just line it up and close it up. And now you have your easel. So that's your easel. Now there is the place where we put it together with that little flap there. That to me is the part that we're going to kind of hide, and it's going to be up against the rest of it, but you'll see that. So our easel part is done. I'll set that aside, and now we'll move to the box part. Okay, and I think one of the things, actually, let's go ahead and do, if I can find where, there it is. Let's go ahead and do our little designated pencil box, and we're just going to, it's a little bit tricky, I think, to do the scoring and the burnishing on a very small piece, but nevertheless. Okay, so now we have that. We've burnished it on all those edges. We're going to put tear and tape right here. The tear and tape is just a tiny bit bigger than this strip is, but that's all right. It'll work just really well. All right, so now what we're going to do is we are going to, if I fold it over like that, then we've got our little box. Okay, and that's the beginning of it. And again, there's like a seam here, and that seam is one that I will want to sort of hide it. I'm going to put it up against here, and so I'm going to make one more piece of tape that's going to go on this part of the box. Okay, and so now that I know which one it is, I'm going to put it here. I can go ahead and just flatten it down and put it where it needs to be. Okay, and I'll just leave that for just a minute, and we're going to put some more tear and tape. We're going to put one piece here, and we're going to put another one here, and one more. If I can get it. Oh, there's the end. One more right here. All right, and then before we flip it over, let's go ahead and we'll go ahead and put down one of our DSP pieces. All right, and this is not structural. Isn't that gorgeous on this side too? Makes it difficult to decide which ones we want to use. All right, so I'm just using the multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm laying that right there with just the edge of the yellow showing through evenly. All right, so that's on there. Now I'm going to flip it this way, and we're ready to use the other piece. Now, if you were to have a directional pattern, and like if you had flowers growing up this way, you would want it this way. This is the top, this is the bottom, if your board is that way. All right, I don't have a directional pattern, so it doesn't matter on this one. All right, and again, liquid glue, because this part is not structural. It's just pretty. All right, I've got a little All right, now while we've got it here, we also want to put some tear and tape here and at the bottom of that, right before this score line, right there. And it's easier to put it on there now. Okay, now I'm going to flip it back over and we can get our bone folder and we can press it down. I find it easier to, even though it's a little bit more trouble to sit here and use your bone folder on the different pieces, I find it easier to cut when it's not been creased already with the bone folder. That one does not want to fold correctly. All right, and then each of those, the little tabs and the big ones. All right, everything's going in towards the center, including these pieces. One here and one here. All right, so this box is pretty much ready to go. So what we're going to do, now we've got this one, and this is the little pencil box, and we've got this seam here, and that seam is going to be right against here. So this seam, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it that way, and I'm going to kind of line it up. And the thing that I think is the most important is that the bottom goes with this bottom. You don't want it down too far or up too far. So, and you're going to also line it up with this seam as well. So, all right, that looks pretty good. You can press it down, flatten it out, and press it down. All right. Okay, now this little tab, I'm going to put that under like that, because when this is up, then that kind of gives just an extra layer here for your, because your pencil's going to be marking on that and you don't want something to poke through. So, all right. So now we're going to pull off our other papers, or other backing for our tape. You can do pretty much almost all of them at the same time. All right, at least the ones on this side. Okay, all right, got it. All right, so now we're going to lay this up like it would be. I'm going to put him down there. All right, going to stand it up, make sure it's all lined up. And you're going to line this line with this line. And this over here. Voila, look at that. So now you've got your pencil box. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. This tab in, the back tab in, and line it up for this side. And there you've got that part. Isn't that neat? And it really wasn't difficult. All right. So now we're going to utilize these that we put on the back, and I'm going to put just a little bit extra glue. I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm going to put just some liquid glue. All right, and we're going to pull off our backing for these, and we're ready to put it together with our easel. Okay, so here's our easel, and we can flatten it. Now, this is the part that is doubled, the edge or whatever. And so I'm going to put that to the inside, so it's not going to be seen as much. Now to line it up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up the corner to corner, and then kind of hold it up, make sure it's going straight all the way, and press it down. You can kind of stick your hand in the box. Make sure you've got even pressure, and there's the whole box. Isn't that cool? And it's just going to set up nicely. So the only thing now you need to do is to put on the calendar. And again, this is the one you're going to be moving it a lot, and so it needs some structure to it. And this comes from Tailored Expressions. So they do a great job. I used their calendars last year as well. All right, because that's going to have a lot of movement happening with it, I'm going to put probably 3 pieces of tear and tape on this one. I'm going to put one at the top, one at the bottom, And just for funsies, I'm going to put a little one kind of diagonally. All right, and then we'll pull those backings off. And our project will be complete. All right, and now what we'll do is I'm going to line up the very top edge of the DSP with the top of the calendar. And we're just going to line it up, make sure we've got the same, approximately the same amount of DSP showing out on either side. Okay, and then we'll smush all that down really well. I'll pull off their wonderful advertisement here. Now all we need is our pencil and a package of the Post-it notes, the sticky notes, and then you've got it. You've got your really neat project. So I'm going to be giving these to a lot of my customers who have purchased from me this year. So this will be a special gift, a special thank you gift for them. So there you have the project. I think it's really, really cool. I really like the addition of the pencil box, the pencil holder. I think it's just perfect. So I hope you have liked the project. I hope you'll try the project. And I will link the different things down below on the description. I'll also have it on my blog as well, the Creative Treehouse. So thanks again for joining me in the Treehouse. And I hope you'll join me next time. I also hope that you'll subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.